is in you. Don't exchange the governor that is in you because you want to get BSc physics. Don't bargain the apostolic mantle that is on your life because you want to get MBBS. The school, the certificate can become a corridor of trade for your destiny. The devil is wild. He said the wisdom of this world is first of all sensual. That means there is a wisdom in this world. That wisdom can bargain your destiny. It is never about the morsel of pottage. It is never about the fruit. It's always about ordination. Many are not aware. They don't understand the legality of the spirit realm, so they do what they want to do. The reason is because they are dust. He can come with seduction and draw them out of destiny. John came, he said, they that love the world, the love of the Father is not in them. Have you bargained your sight in the spirit for a lady? Have you bargained the authority of God that is in your hand for 5 minutes sex? Have you bargained your destiny? You don't know you are the priest over your family. He says, Simon, Simon, Satan desires to have you and to sift you like wheat, but I have prayed for you, and when thou art recovered, strengthen thy brethren. So when he came for Simon, he came for all the apostles. Do you know if you are the priest over your family? Do you know if you are the priest over your state, and then you bargain it because you needed to add 5 marks to get a C in social 104? We are not taught kingdom. We are not taught government. We are not taught the dimensions of justice and equity in the spirit realm. You have come to a ground of treachery. This is a marketplace in the spirit. There are more demons here than there are lecturers. And most of you, by the time you are in 300 level, you discover you are scoring an A in wardom. Because every Friday you will be addicted to a club, and all your dress will become seductive. You will learn faster in the spirit than in the natural. You are mighty on your throne. You reign, you reign, you reign, you reign, God. You are mighty on your throne. How do you walk in the spirit? The biggest lesson of your life is what I want to show you now. Your certificate is supposed to be an advantage, but if you are not careful, it will become what you trade your destiny for. The biggest lesson until you walk in the spirit, you cannot maximize nature. The devil will use nature to maximize you, so you become his agent, whether you know it or not. You need to understand demonic intelligence. The lady that was screaming yesterday said she was sent to disrupt the meeting, but there are many believers that just thrown into the meeting. It's another gathering, freshers night, and you came to watch drama, to laugh and go back. Meanwhile, in the demonic realm, they sent their agent. It was the power of God that picked her out. And when I released fire on her, she wanted to distract me, when God was still ministering to people. So that I'll spend 15 minutes in casting out the demon. Meanwhile, when you gave the command, the demon left already. But the soul of the lady is connected to the demon. So even though the demon is outside, he's still manipulating her, and you think the demon is still in her. And then you spend 30 minutes, 1 hour wasting the service. The people that should receive impartation, you use that time wasting on the demon. The Bible said Jesus came down from the mountain. He casted the deaf and dumb spirit, and the spirit threw the boy down. The boy formed. Jesus didn't say anything to him. You don't know demonic intelligence. You stroll casually to a meeting, you think it's casual. Your destiny is being bargained the day you enter the gate of Uniport. They saw your star, and some of you, they saw you even in your mother's womb. and then you come to time, you give yourself to the deception of Nakash. The demon comes with seduction and deceives you, and you step out of your king or your destiny. He said, I looked from my window, I saw a young man who is void of understanding. He took the path of the harlot. Her husband had traveled and she had dressed her bed with rubies, and then he dragged the young man, and the young man went her way. He was a man without understanding. He had gone the path of destruction. Are you learning something this morning? You reign, you ancient Zion's king. Cry out, Kadosh, you are mighty on your throne. I wish God show you your dimension in the spirit. You know, Adam didn't see his dimension, so he thought he was a man. If only he had seen his dimension, he will know that he's a God, because he was created in the image and the likeness of a God. He will know that he was a ruler over the serpent and the constellation, but he didn't see his dimension. Some of you here who are weak and living in immorality, if you see yourself in the spirit, you are a flame of fire. You are a flame, but you give to deception, you give to flesh, and you have become the dust that the serpent devours at will. Do you walk in the spirit? By making the presence of God your habitation. And the first thing to do is to begin to wait upon the Lord. Waiting upon the Lord, the culture that is being lost in our generation. Everything is on speed, so we are all running from pillar to pole. Men can no longer wait. We are in a hurry for everything. But in the spirit, he said, when you wait, you mount up with wings like the eagles. That means you fly every time you begin to wait. You know what is happening to you? You are going above the sun and the moon. So the sun and the moon can no longer smite you by day nor by night, because you mount up with wings like the eagles. You journey past the galaxies and you enter into the mountains of God, where the spirit of just men is made perfect. You can be a just man, but your spirit may not be perfect. Perfect means maturity. You cannot be weary anymore. What has happened? The God in your spirit is beginning to download into your soul. So when we wait upon the Lord, the first thing that happens is that we go beyond the environment. In John chapter 3 verse 13, Jesus was walking in Nazareth, and he said, the Son of Man which is in heaven is not a figurative statement, it's reality. While he was walking on earth, he was living in the spirit. That's why early in the morning you will hear that he went to a solitary place. There he prayed. So he enters heaven before he walks on earth. If you study the Bible, you will hear the Bible said, and Jesus entered into the mountain. Do you enter into a mountain? Men climb mountains. So the mountain he's talking about is the spirit. So he enters the spirit. And when he comes outside, the prince of this world comes to him and finds nothing. The remote control suddenly can't walk. If you are the Son of God, turn these stones to bread. Man shall not live by bread alone. If you are the Son of God, jump down from the pinnacle of the temple. The angels will take charge of you. It is written, thou shalt not tempt the Lord your God. Adam did not know that he was a God, but this one knew. Bow to me, I will give you the glories of the world. Who are you giving glory to? I am an embodiment of glory. It pleased the Father that the fullness of the Godhead should dwell in him bodily. He knows that he's a being of glory. You can't trade glory with me. I am glory. Say, get behind me, Satan. And the devil fled. Because the man knew how to wait. Every time you wait, you come out as a God. Moses in the Old Testament, he did not have the Holy Ghost, but he knew the technology of waiting. Sometimes he climbed a mountain. Do you know how tall Mount Sinai is? It is more than 6,800 feet tall. A mountain is not a hill. An old man of 120 years old will climb a mountain of 6,000 feet tall. That's why before you can wait, you will first of all pray for a long time. See, that time you go to pray and then you go and check your window. You come back, you open the pot, you check your phone to see whether you have light. That is you battling with the flesh. So every time the flesh comes to distract you, you starve it. If my phone becomes a challenge, I don't only off it, remove the battery and throw it away. If I know it becomes a challenge, I call my friend and give him the phone, bring it back in 7 days. You don't know how an old man climbs Sinai. You will climb because it's on top of the mountain that you wait. Many times he will match a stone, the stone will sleep. He will keep climbing. And when he climbs the mountain, he will now wait on the mountain for 6 days. Because the one before whom you come to do is a monarch. You wait on him, he doesn't wait on you. So when Moses came down from waiting, the Bible said even Moses was not aware that his face was shining like the sun. You know what has happened? Spiritual download. The person that went up was a man. The one that came down is a God. With a staff, he brought down a whole civilization. With a staff. Egypt was the strongest civilization in the world. In your territory now, there are 3 major civilizations: Warden, courtesan. Are you aware of it? How many of you can bring down Warden? You know the measure of God you carry to be able to bring it down. When Moses shows up, sometimes the children of Israel run to their tent. It's not about the message, the intelligent message. I know young people now, we carry concordance, we listen to 30 messages and we combine it because we think it's about intelligence. If you cannot communicate God, you are a joker. If 3 men rise on this campus, even the sinners will be scared. The Bible said the priests did not dare join themselves with the apostles. Everywhere you stand, a crowd will come to hear the counsel of God because you have become the mountain of God. He said, in the last day I will establish my house upon my mountain, and men of all nations shall run to it and say, teach us the way of the Lord. You will become an effulgence of life and power. That's who Moses was. And when the sons of the Levi wanted to disrupt the order that Moses had set, because God told him, teach them laws, teach them statutes, teach them ordinances, and they wanted to violate the ordinances of God, Moses looked at them and said, if you die like a normal man, that's one man talking to another man. If you die like a normal man, then I am not sent. And then Moses went back to the mountain and then he told God, have no respect unto their prayers. Do you know where the guy is standing in Zion? A man can now suggest to God how to answer prayer. You don't know the possibilities of a man. I told you, man is the product of the intercourse of deity. We can't be anything apart from God. He said, ye are gods, because ye are the children of the Most High. You don't know who man is. You give yourself to flesh, and your environment rule you. Your environment, you. Because you came on campus, everybody is dressing naked. After a while, you join them. Because everybody is having boyfriend. After a while, you feel, I'm feeling lonely. You are ruled by your environment. You, a carrier of glory. He said, 1,000 shall fall by their side, 10,000 by their right side. He shall not come near them. With their eyes they will see and behold the recompense of the wicked, because they have made the Most High their habitation. Most of us cannot even enter the place of waiting, because sometimes it will take 5 hours of tongues to come to a place where your soul can wait, where your soul becomes still to see the Lord. You can be on Facebook for 6 hours, but you cannot pray for 3 hours. So your soul is scattered. But when you begin to pray, what you are doing is that you are gathering yourself before the Lord. That thing wants to pull you, you say no. This one comes, you say no, and you stay there. And the point comes where suddenly you begin to see the menorah, and then the illuminations that come to your spirit now becomes visions of God, light from the presence. And then you travel, a point comes where you begin to sense the sense of the incense. Then you enter the presence. Remember, when the high priest enters the Holy of Holies, he doesn't shift the veil. The Bible said he enters the veil. He has become one, mingled with the light of God. God brings him into the veil. He enters into the veil. If you don't develop the culture of waiting, I tell you, by the time you are in 400 level, you would have become a custodian of a dimension of the devil. Nothing can help you about that one. Because either you wait on God or you wait on the devil. You reign, you ancient Zion's king, cry out, Kadosh,
you mighty on your throne.
A point came that the body of Moses interacted with glory so much that even when he was going to die, death could not conquer him. God had to kill him. Others were beaten by serpents. Moses raised the graven image for them to look at it, but Moses didn't need the graven image. The serpents can't bite him. Did you not read about Paul? He was beaten by a viper. He shook it into fire, and he continued this thing. Moses had mingled with glory until a point came, even the laws of God became the laws of Moses, because Moses had become the representative of God. A point came, Paul will be writing in 2 Corinthians 3:15. He said, when Moses is read, Moses is the law. The law is no longer on the tablets of stone. The law has become a man. When Moses is read, you don't know your possibilities in the spirit. That's a man without the Holy Ghost. When Moses was killed by God, the devil came for his body, because the body of a mortal man had interacted so much with glory that even the devil needed it. And God will deploy an archangel to come and contend with the devil over the dead body. The same dead body that you and I dig a pit and dump. Somebody else mingled with glory so much that heaven and hell, there was contention over his body. I thought the Bible said flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom. Why then did God wrestle for Moses' body? The body is a custodian of glory. Elisha died without the Holy Ghost. Many years later, his bones raised the dead. What he interacted with, the vibrations of God in his body is too much. That's what the Bible meant when it said the spirit will mortify your mortal body. That means your mortal body will be encased with glory. This is why Jesus did not tell us to pray for the sick. Touch them, they will be healed. Touch them. Your body has become a conductor of glory, but you must master the art of waiting in the presence. Moses lived there. Some of us can't stay in the presence for 5 minutes. 5 minutes is like 5 hours. It's a sign that we are ruled by flesh. And if we go out like that, we are dust to the serpent, because we are like the fallen man. If we go out like that, the sun and the moon can smite us. The same Facebook where some go and they get boyfriends and they fornicate, on that same Facebook we are winning souls in thousands. If I put one message on Facebook, in 7 days it will have more than 70,000 views. So a point comes when you rule over the sun. The same sun that is smiting others, you rule over it. Joshua was fighting. He said, let the sun stand upon the mountains of Ajalon and the moon upon the valley of Gibeon. And he said the sun did not make haste to go down. That's a man ruling over the sun. The same thing that made you a slave, you can enslave it. The idea is to wait in the presence, and then you mount up with wings, and then God downloads into your soul. You come with an energy that will push the devil backward. This is not, I'm a Catholic, I'm a Dunamite, I'm a living faith. That's not what we are talking about. We are talking about life in the spirit. The third thing that happens to you when you wait is that you rank up with your tribe. Yes, you can be in dunamis, I can be in living faith, but if me and you enter the spirit realm, you will discover that both of us are prophets in the order of Elijah. On earth we can be in different denominations, but both of us will spit fire and we will challenge the powers that be. So you will realize that denomination has no stature in the spirit. It's life. In Songs of Solomon chapter 4 verse 4, he said the neck of Christ, talking about his beloved, is like the mountain of David, upon which the shield of many warriors are hanging. So Enoch can walk with God. When he left this world, he pulled his mantle and kept it on the neck. If I travel in Christ and reach there, I can wear what Enoch wore. And Enoch will not be the only person that God will carry. It's a technology of waiting. So when Elijah entered where Enoch entered, the same way Enoch was traveling by the wind, Elijah began to travel by the wind. So much so that Obadiah told him, you want me to go and call the king so that God will carry you? Elijah doesn't travel with cars. It was popular. And the day he wanted to leave, all the prophets were aware. And he walked through 4 nations. He came to the Jordan, and the Jordan parted. The same Jordan that God parted for more than 5 million people. What God can do for a nation, he can do for one man. It's where you are standing in the spirit. Have you not heard that one man is bigger than a nation? He said that same year Isaac sowed in the land, and Isaac reaped 100-fold reward, and he became exceedingly great that the Philistines envied him. They came to him and said, please depart from us, for you are bigger than us. The same thing God does for a nation, he can do for one man, because one man can become a nation. If I enter in the spirit and I connect to Abraham, I become an Abraham in my generation. You don't know how spiritual these men live their life to be champions. You think it's religion. The Bible said Abraham went to defeat 5 kings, and it took only 318 trained servants, not warriors, servants. Why would you have that audacity? Do you know how many legions a king carried? And he said when Abraham came, he said Abraham divided himself among his servants. So they became 319 Abrahams. You don't know this man. You say they are Old Testament. Everything they walked in is a dimension of Christ. There's no dimension of the spirit that is apart from Christ. The only thing is that they saw the crucified Christ before the foundation of the world. You saw the crucified Christ in Nazareth. All of us are walking by the same economy. Abraham divided. How do you divide yourself? Do you know what that is? He splitted himself like mitosis, and he put himself inside people. So one of them is a nation, because God said, I will make you a father of nations. With 318 men, there was no record that one of them died, because all of them is Abraham. When you begin to wait on the Lord, you enter your tribe. I used to pursue men of God for impartation until I knew the technology. I say, now so they work. Sometimes I lock myself for 8 months. Yes, I said 8 months. I didn't say 8 days. You don't know how to run. In 1 year, I've spoken to more than 7 million people. I came out of 8 years of waiting. I didn't come here because you like me. You have no choice. Do you know how many preachers are in Nigeria? How do you think you can compete? My name was echoed into your ear, and the leadership, when they sat down, they could not. Even if I say I'm not coming, you will beg. This is not pride. I'm teaching you how to walk in dominion. Because when you enter your tribe, men can look at you and they are saying Catherine Kuman. Yes. Suddenly, they look at you and they see Benson in the house. You know why? His shield is on the neck of David. And when you entered, you wore it. You wore it. So you are walking on your campus, you are like an angel among men. The thing is that you have entered your tribe. That's what John did. He knew that he was supposed to be the voice of the one crying in the wilderness. But that's not enough. He needed to come in the spirit of Elijah. So he left. The Bible said in Luke chapter 1 verse 80 that he was in the wilderness until the day of his showing forth. And when John the Baptist was coming out of the wilderness, what they saw was Elijah. I stopped pursuing men. There's nothing wrong with impartation, but if it will take my time, I rather spend it in God's presence. Because there was a time I waited in the spirit until a hand came into my room and pulled me out of my room and took me back in time, and he stood me at a door and I was watching. And this was Reverend Chris Oyakhilome at the age of 17, and he said, watch his life. Reverend Chris, when he was 17, I was not yet born. How come? I went back in time. God wanted to connect me to a dimension. And I saw how he locked the door, spent time alone, studying books, praying for nations. When I came back, I don't need to meet him to teach me how he made it. If I sustain the discipline, I will walk in the same dimension. You don't know. You can enter a tribe today. You will bring Benson in the house back to your campus. When you roar, it's the same impact, the same output, because you mastered the technology of waiting. This is where men become invincible and immortals. When John entered the spirit, he said, I was in the Isle of Patmos for the testimony of the word of the Lord and of his kingdom. I was in the spirit on the Lord's day, and I heard a voice behind me like as of a trumpet. And as I turned, that is a migration from flesh to spirit. As I turned, I saw 7 golden lampstands. And it continued. And the second time the voice came, he said, a door opened in heaven. And as I entered, migration. When they carried him around heaven, he saw the angel shining. He wanted to worship him, and the angel said, no, I am your brother. You are walking on earthly corridors, I'm walking on heavenly corridors, but we are one. That means if John enters a service, he can invoke his brother. You don't know. Your advantage is not in your charisma. Your advantage is in the mountain of Zion. When you enter there, you partner with your light. Some of you are running after people, wasting time. You don't know that you are the next after Babadola. You have no idea that that mantle is vacant. The dealings that God is putting you through is because this is the only path through which you can enter that mantle. They can lay hands on you 10 times. It will not confer a mantle. Mantles are determined by consecrations and dealings.